Greetings, TriStar fans. I have here a late 1980s CXL, and I want to go and start doing a whole bunch of airflow and suction tests. So I have all the filters installed, all typical standard TriStar filters installed, that is. You've seen this before. They kind of call this a high efficiency bag, filtration bag. It's fully cleaned and dried out. However, its filtration capabilities are, I have to measure that. I don't really know. Might be okay, might be a joke. And then I have this typical Premotor filter. In fact, I've got two housings. This one right here, the filter material just disintegrated, so I'll have to get something else. But here's one that survived, been cleaned and dried. And then you've got the standard totally useless exhaust filter. I don't know why they bother to even include it. It doesn't really do much of anything. And it's got some very wide open kind of mesh material in there that couldn't really do much of anything, especially if you have other filters in your machine. Not sure how that would actually affect anything that much. Okay, so all standard typical filters in. Let's go ahead and see what happens. And I'll prep my calculator with the conversion factor. And let's see what we have. This is a cardboard tube. You've seen me use this on many occasions. It's just simply molded into the shape of a cone. Well, that looks pretty good with all the filters in. Need to mention that it's kind of warm tonight, so everybody's running their air conditioners, and my load voltage is a little lower than normal. So I am running about 120 volts rather than my normal 121. Okay, so with all three filters in, such as they are, we are at 125.4 CFM. So that's not bad. And I did check the motor specs, and it's running 9.95 amps for this particular motor. And I have no idea what condition it's in because I haven't taken the shell apart yet to see what it looks like. But it sounds okay, more or less. All right, so let's take a few pieces out here. I'm going to take the Premotor filter out, that guy, because I am going to put real HEPA bags in here, and I don't know if I'm going to run a Premotor filter. I don't know if there's really a point to that. Okay, so let's see if there's any real change. So this guy is out. Let's do it again. Well, yes, that definitely made a difference. Could you hear it? So let's see how that improves. Wow, that went up almost 3 CFM more. So this type of material here, I don't think it really filters all that well. It's better than nothing, I suppose. But that robs a little over 3 CFM, I think. Jeez. Okay, so we're at about 129 CFM. And I don't think I can actually run this thing without this bag in here, because this bag has some thickness to it and it actually creates some kind of seal, and you have this ring. So if I put this down here and then try to lock it, it's not really there. And I know I could put tape around it and seal it. In fact, you know what? Maybe I'll do that just to see what it does with no filters in whatsoever. Ooh, how about that? Be right back. Well, for better or for worse, I have everything taped up. So let's see what the raw motor fan airflow is. No filters in here at all. Well, I think we might have gotten a little improvement. So there's about 129 CFM. Let's see what we did. How much more did we gain? And there we are. So now you know what all the filters do. Well, I didn't specifically test this one. I can't believe that makes any difference. So this appears to be sucking down about 3 CFM. And this guy right here seems to be robbing the machine of, well, I have to put that little rubber seal back on, about 2 CFM. So look at that. That's something. So now we actually know. I know they make a HEPA version of these. I have no idea what it actually does. I can't say I'm really planning to get a HEPA version of the Premotor filter because I'm simply going to use a HEPA bag. But now you know that this canister at about 120 volts or so, under load, running at probably 99% of its original design spec, at least as far as current draw, about 131 CFM. Let's see how much suction it has with all the filters in. And by the way, I've tried this stopper both ways and I get the exact same result. So let's see what it is. I think the best I can really call that would be about 85. And I know I've seen, I think other people get higher than that out of here, but also remember that I haven't had a chance to rebuild this canister yet, but certainly seems to have plenty of airflow. Now let's go ahead and measure the airflow at the end of the hose. I actually have 2 hoses to choose from. They're very similar, but they're not the same. But this particular hose gives me just a little more airflow than the other one does. So I've laid the CXL on its side so the hose is as flat and stretched out as possible. And let's see what we can get with all the filters in, all 3 of them. go. A little tricky. Okay, 3937. That's a really good result, especially considering the machine's that old. So we end up with all three filters in, getting 102.75. So we'll call that 103 CFM. And that is very respectable, to be sure. So here's my setup. Just lay it on its side, stretch the hose out, and that's with all the filters in. That's a lot of airflow. I'll be very excited to see what comes out of the power nozzles when we mount it on the airflow box. Now for suction at the end of the hose. All filters still in. I think the best I saw was about 82 inches. And, that's not bad. That means this hose is really tight after all these years, however many years it's been. So now I've hooked up to my airflow box, I believe the newer of the two turbo brushes that I have, the one in the black trim. So let's see what this CXL with this really tight hose pulls on the airflow box as far as airflow and suction. Here's my normal typical setup here. Super fancy looking, obviously. We'll start on low pile and then work our way up. Okay, on low pile, we're at about 81.2 CFM. And by the way, I haven't done anything extraordinary as far as reconditioning the power nozzle. I just cleaned everything, but I did not go and take a whole bunch of stuff apart. Okay, now let's go to normal. So we're going from 81.2 up a bit. Okay, on normal, we're doing about almost 84 CFM, about 83.7 CFM. So now we're going to go for everything here on shag. Looks like we're peaking at 3287. So that's almost 86 CFM. Let me see if I can get that a little higher. Nope, looks like that'll do it. So just about 86 CFM. I think that's pretty impressive for such an old machine such as this, and everything being as beat up as it is. That's really something. Quite a testimony. So I'm going to leave all the filters in because it's just kind of weird to go and flip them around. It's not very easy to go and mess with those. But I am going to do some suction tests. So I don't know if I'm going to formally test this one unless it's significantly different. If I find out it's significantly different, I'll probably post a video with this. But let me tear down and let's try some suction tests. Now, one thing I got to say is for those people that have TriStars, you know that the rug play here is definitely not designed to be sealed at all. There's airflow reliefs on either side, and also all these little holes here in the front. So when I do these static sealed airflow tests, they get a much higher airflow number than you would normally expect when you would run it on the carpet. But when I put a piece of carpet on here, that will be a much more realistic airflow number. Okay, first test is on low pile, so it should be the lowest number. Alright, now normal. And now shag. And back to normal. And then back to low pile. So if you were wondering why I didn't do any airflow tests with the brush roll spinning, is because this is what the brush roll and, more importantly, the motor that turns the brush roll sounds like at the moment. Yeah, it wouldn't really be wise for me to run that for a number of minutes in order to get the airflow numbers. So I really need to take a look at that motor and tear that thing down and see what I can do with bearings or whatever else I can do. So that's why I didn't go and run the brush roll spinning tests.